Today we are going to learn about the history of Fokker, the great manufacturers. Although the name Fokker is often linked with the German fighter planes, Anthony Fokker was actually a Dutch national who later became American citizen. The company founded produced some groundbreaking civil and military machines, and during the 1920s it became the largest manufacturer of the aircraft in the world. Anthony Fokker was born in the Dutch East Indies, which is now Indonesia, in 1890. Anthony Fokker returned to the Netherlands at the age of 4, as his father wanted his child to receive a Dutch upbringing like many of the early aviation pioneers. Fokker was not a studious boy. He did not complete his higher education, preferring engineering and practical mechanics to schoolwork. Fokker was sent to Germany by his father in 1910 to train as an automobile mechanic, but he, having been inspired by the Wilbur Wright's demonstration flights in France in 1908, he again started working on his first aircraft, called the Spin, Dutch for Spider. Fokker soon gained recognition for his aeronautical aptitude both as a designer and as a pilot, and in 1912 he founded his company named Fokker. When World War I started, the German government took control of the factory, though Fokker was retained as a director and designer. In 1915, Fokker demonstrated his Endeavour fighter with revolutionary armament. Though Fokker did not invent the concept of firing a machine gun through the propeller disc, his company did design a synchronization system that made it possible. This system is called interrupter gear. Revolutionized aerial combat with the so-called Fokker's Crouch of 1915, decimating the British-French Air Corps during World War. Fokker also built the Fokker DRL triplane and the very advanced Fokker DV7 that was launched in 1918. The DRL, the top-scoring ace of the World War, Rittmeister Manfred von Richthofen, the Red Baron, met his death. The DV7 is unique in being the only machine to be specifically mentioned in Armistice Agreement. In the Treaty of Versailles, the victorious Allies insisted that all DV7s to be handed over. After the war, Fokker owed a small fortune in taxes to the German exchequer, so he returned to the Netherlands with 6 trains full of parts, around 180 aircrafts. This allowed him to restart production very quickly, and the company was soon delivering aircraft to several different air forces. In 1923, Fokker relocated to the United States and set up American division called Atlantic Aircraft Corporation, quickly renamed the Fokker Aircraft Corporation. The company soon began to dominate the civil aircraft market. Its F-7A-3M trimotor was particularly successful, capturing 40% of the US market by 1936, and ultimately being operated by 54 different airlines. The F-7A-3M's first real competitor was the Ford trimotor, which copied many of the Fokker's features. A Fokker trimotor won the 1925 Ford Reliability Tour, and the type used by famous aviators such as Richard E. Byrd and Charles Kingsford Smith on many pioneering and record-breaking flights. However, the Fokker was badly tarnished in 1931 when Fokker Trimotor TWA Flight 599 crashed. Not only the cause of the disaster traced to structural failure would, but legendary football Knut Rockne was one of the casualties, ensuring extensive media coverage. The aircraft were grounded first time following the accident, allowing all marital aircraft by Boeing and Douglas to become more prevalent. Having sold the company to General Motors in 1930, Fokker increasingly sidelined by GM management. They resigned the following year. He died from meningitis in New York City on 23rd December 1939, aged only 49. In the Netherlands, Fokker factories were confiscated by the Germans after they invaded in 1940 and were used to build Bucker Bu-181 trainers as parts of Ju-52 transports. After World War II, the company initially converted surplus Douglas Dakotas for civilian use before designing and building some new parts, including the S-11 trainer and one of the first jet trainers, the S-14. They also built jets such as the Gloucester Meteor and the Lockheed F-104 Starfighter under license in 1957, when Fokker began its friendship with the F-27. Powered by a pair of Rolls-Royce Dart turboprops, F-27 would eventually become the most successful European turboprop airliner and continued production till 1987. A small jetliner, the F-28 Fellowship, launched in 1967. It sold well. At the time, company built satellites and was part of the consortium that built F-16s under license for the Belgian, Danish, Dutch, and Norwegian air forces. However, an ambitious project to develop two new aircraft concurrently was to prove Fokker's undoing while developing the F-50, which was based on the F-27, and the F-100 derived from the F-28. Costs spiraled, and Fokker required a large bailout from the Dutch government to remain solvent. Furthermore, although initially both types sold reasonably well, did not repeat success of the type they were based on. Eventually, the companies merged. German company DASA in 1992 by DASA's parent company Daimler-Benz had problems of its own in January 1996. It split with Fokker. 2 months later, Fokker was declared bankrupt. However, the name still exists with the aerospace sector as Fokker Technologies and consortium of 5 individual companies.